Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, everyone. I'm Rabbi Michael Feshbach.
And to Rhoda Harrison.
We're delighted to have Tom Adams with us as our accompanist. I want to acknowledge this evening is Cantor Harrison's last service with us, and I want to acknowledge as well that she is a recovering laryngitis.
Those who were here last week know it's
So
it's so low, right? Well, it's still going to be low.
So we will.
I feel better, but the antibiotic is still kicking.
So I will try not to throw her off, but you will join in with your lovely voices to lift her up and sing along with and wish her and each other Shabbat Shalom, Refuah Shlema to you, Refuah Shlema to your mom, whose name we'll have on the Mishaberach list later. And some of where I was when I was away, what I did on my summer vacation, I will share with you later on tonight. We open with the psalms and songs of Kabbalat Shabbat, only some of them tonight, but we on pages 130 and 131, Lechuna Ranana and Shiru Ladonai, Psalm 95 and Psalm 96. In the brackets, the pages in the brackets. Something I was looking for. We're going to go backwards in a moment, but because season has started here, we jump to page 141 before L'Chadodi, and from Psalm 93, the ocean sounds we'll read together in a moment. I wasn't in the area for Memorial Day, but I saw a picture of Ocean City last weekend, and it was just solid umbrellas on the beach, cover to cover. I don't know how many of you have braved the bridges recently, but we turn to the ending words in English of Psalm 93 on the bottom of page 141, the last non-indented paragraph together. The ocean sounds Adonai, the ocean sounds its thunder, the ocean sounds its pounding. Above the thunder of the mighty waters, more majestic than the breakers of the sea, is Adonai, majestic on high. Your decrees are indeed enduring. Holiness befits your house, Adonai, for all times. And back to Lacharodi, pages 138 and 139. Cue change for a moment. The bottom of page 143, the last paragraph in English in the main section. Waking from his sleep, Jacob said, "Truly Adonai is in this place, and I did not know it. He was awestruck and said, "How awe-inspiring is this place! This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven." And we're going to do even a little more English than we usually do at the beginning of the service. 145 in the middle of the page, and then we'll go to Chetzi Kaddish. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Bless my day today as the one before. Bless her teens. We rise, we face east for Chetzi Kaddish, 144, and then Baruch Hu, 146. Amen. Standing but face each other, 148, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach sharim, u'bitvuna mishaneh itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'misader et hakochavim, u'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golei or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Umavdil yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai. Bottom of 150. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better land, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo. Amen. The bottom of 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeis sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim. V'shamru 162. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael, b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורות המריתות. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המריתות. ביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המריתות. Over these past few years, as technology has advanced, I swear my television has started yelling back at me. So tired of hearing me yell at it. What can we do with such a world? All I can say, it's not long yet. But all we can do in such a world, the words on the top of page 165, pray as if everything depended on God, act as if everything depended on you. The Amidah, the Tefillah, pages 164 and following. Please rise and we face east. Theological Seminary, the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College, the non-denominational Hebrew College, the non-denominational Academy for Jewish Religion, and to my shame, the Reform Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion. Some of the students at these institutions signed a letter which was so critical of Israel that it passed far beyond criticism of policy and crossed into actual anti-Zionism. And so, several years ago, Linda will remember, and Susan, when I went to this conference at the end of May last year, it is called Recharging Reform Judaism. And a number of Reform rabbis, and it spread to cantors and educators and others. Elaine, you were actually at the first conference last year. Some in our movement said it is time to fix the ideological drift, to clarify who we are, what we stand for, to re-Zionize our movement, and to also address the question of what are our institutions doing and how are they functioning. It was fascinating a year ago. I wasn't going to go this year, and then October 7th happened, and I just felt that I had to go. One of the most powerful moments of the conference, and one which has shaken me and stayed with me, was a panel discussion keynoted by, is that a verb? Where the keynote was delivered by the president of the Hebrew Union College, doctor, not rabbi, in the first time in our history, Andrew Rayfeld. And he addressed the question, which is tearing the Reconstructionist movement apart, which has reached into the conservative movement, which is evident at Hebrew College in Boston, and which is a live question for the Hebrew Union College as well. Can, should, would our institutions, our seminaries producing non-Orthodox rabbis, ordain those who are anti-Zionist? To the best of my knowledge, Dr. Rayfeld gave an answer which would have done very well at the bakery next door selling fudge. We are a Zionist movement, he said, which you know is very different from the origins of Reform Judaism, right? That was our original sin. We are not a people, we are a religion, right? We have corrected that already starting in the 1930s. We are a Zionist movement, HUC-JAR. I have to add JAR because it was at Stephen Wise Synagogue, and Stephen Wise founded the Jewish Institute of Religion, so we have to include both. Is a Zionist institution. If somebody said in their interview for admission that they were anti-Israel, that they were anti-Zionist, I don't mean criticizing the policy of Israel. You understand what I mean by anti-Zionism, right? I criticize the policy of Israel all the time. This isn't about criticizing policy. What we're talking about with anti-Zionism is opposed to the idea of the existence of a sovereign Jewish state in a sovereign Jewish democratic state in safe and secure borders. That's anti-Zionism. If somebody said that in their interview, they would not be admitted. So, okay, I relax. We're fine. He said, if somebody said they were struggling with Zionism, they would be admitted. I said, I'm okay with that too. And then he said, but if we don't have a litmus test for ordination. He said, how can a liberal institution that is pluralistic tell somebody you have to believe a certain thing in order? This, of course, set the entire conference on fire. There were several responses given pointing that out, that we have all kinds of other standards. We have all kinds of other litmus tests and expectations of what it means to be a rabbi, a cantor, an educator, sanctioned by our movement. And we got caught in all kinds of distractions of pointing fingers. And then, coming in to a panel of educators was one of my teachers, who is not a Reform Jew, but a name I mention often, the president of the Shalom Hartman Institute of North America. Actually, I think he's co-president of the entire institution now. His name is Yehuda Kurtzer. You may know the last name. His father was ambassador to Israel at one point, Daniel Kurtzer. Yehuda Kurtzer is one of the He actually spoke slowly enough, because he was speaking to, when he teaches rabbis, it's like you can't keep up, he speaks so fast. And he came and he gave a simple paragraph which I thought was the answer to the question, and which just, I was sitting next to Julie and I sort of cried when I wrote it down. We are living, Yehuda Kurtzer said, with the most interesting questions that Judaism has ever faced at a time when the answers are not theoretical. Think about that. For all these centuries of the Talmud being written and the responsa, questions like, what do you do when prisoners are taken or hostages? What do you do about prioritizing certain resources over others when you're building a country? What do you do with the Jewish army? Well, what's the problem with that question for centuries? It's entirely theoretical. There is no sovereignty at all. We are living, Kurtzer said, with the most interesting questions that Judaism has ever faced at a time when the answers are not theoretical. He didn't mention the word Israel in that paragraph. He didn't mention the word Zionism. He does not have to. I believe that to be a leader in our movement, I believe that what our movement should stand for is the idea that we have to be engaged with that paragraph. That paragraph says to me everything about what the Zionist project is. It explains why even a conversation with a taxi driver in Israel feels fraught. You go to the post office in Israel and